Got a 2001 Jetta here, TDI with an ALH. Customer's complaint is lack of power and check engine light. And a week ago, customer brought a computer in, do a mobilizer delete by Richard to fix it, and did not seem to fix the issue, so the customer brought it here for us to figure it out. We've done some preliminary checks already, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what the trouble codes are. Alright, this is a 2001 Jetta we're looking at. And, oh, look at this neat scan tool we got here from the customer. It's no VADCOM, but definitely better than nothing. And also, looks like we've got a computer here the customer had in the car, so looks like he has a spare computer. We're trying to fix this problem. And also, looks like we've got a N75 as well sitting here. Maybe the customer got one of these to try to fix his boost problem. Alright, here are the codes we got once we scanned it. We've got 5 fault codes that pulled up in the engine computer, and every time we cleared these codes they would pop up immediately every time, would not go away, and they all do appear to be open or short to ground codes to different valves, N75, fuel shutoff solenoid, glow plug relay, etc. And we also did a boost graph because the customer's complaint was low power. We've got that here. Can you see that? Alright, here's the boost graph after we took it for a drive. You can see desired green, yellow actual, and it never builds boost at all. It just falls flat in its face every time you floor it. The reason we're making this video here is because looking at these codes and pulling up a schematic, it would appear that all of these various solenoids and systems are connected. And seeing that these trouble codes and all these solenoids are connected with the schematic gives us a good sense of direction on where to go on trying to solve this issue for the customer, and we thought that would make a good video for you. Perfect. Okay, our diagnostic process for whenever we think we have an electrical issue is to go ahead and check all the fuses, which we're going to do right here. And what we are concerned with is if there's any blown fuses. We're not worried if there's fuses that don't light up. We're looking for blown. So we can go through here and make sure they light up. Just go through them all. Alright, and they all checked out good, so then we go ahead and look at the schematic and check the specific fuses that are in our circuit. Alright, we got our schematic here of the engine computer with all these various devices, and we're looking at the devices that we got trouble codes for, and one of them here is the EGR solenoid. We've also got our timing solenoid here. It's mislabeled, but this is our timing solenoid. We've also got our N75. It's got a different name here, but this is the N75. And then we've also got one for the glow plug relay, which is up here. And then the last one is the fuel cutoff valve down here. Now, we're looking at these power wires coming from these various devices. And there's one here that, if we follow up, goes to this fuse. And then on our timing solenoid, we're going to follow this wire, go across here, and you notice it's connected with this power wire on the EGR, goes up to that same fuse. We go to our turbo solenoid and get this power wire here, and this one will come across. And this one also connects the same power wire to the same fuse. We've got our fuel cutoff solenoid here. This one is computer controlled. The wire goes to the computer. We're not going to draw that one in. And then we have our glow plug relay here, and we have this wire, which is the control side of the relay. It goes across here, up here, and this one branches off and it goes up to this fuse. And so we've got all these fuses that are controlling our devices that are triggering the turbo code. And if we look at these fuses and where they get power from, they all branch off to this wire, which if we follow this down, goes here to our power. Alright, and since all of these devices that are triggering a turbo code are powered here by the same location by all these fuses, we're going to go ahead and check these fuses, these specific fuses first, and make sure we got power on the fuses. And then after that, we're going to take our meter and check the devices themselves and see if we have voltage on the power wires or not. Alright, we've got our left side of the dash cover here, and if you don't know, in this little panel there is a fuse card here. Sometimes it's missing, but luckily on this one it's not. And we're looking for a specific fuse number 32 and 34, which is, there's 32 here and 34 right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get the test light and see if we've got power on those. Once again, you want to make sure the card. Okay. Alright, so we're checking the 32 and 34 fuse. We got 32 here, it's a 30 amp fuse. Lights on that side, and lights on that side, and then we've got 34 here, it's just 10 amp. Lights up as well. And even though those light up, we do want to do a visual on these fuses. Make sure we don't have any corrosion or the prongs are spread out too big. So go ahead and look at it, and this looks really clean. And then we go in there with a flashlight and we look inside, make sure prongs aren't spread out and we're not getting good contact, but that does look good. So that's number 32. And do the same thing with 34. This one also looks very clean. And no problem in there. Alright, so the fuses check out good. So we're going to go ahead and get a meter and check the devices individually for power on them. Alright, so we've got our N75 boost control solenoid here. I don't know if you can tell, it looks like the customer's replaced this. It looks brand new. So we got our meter here, and we are going to check on the power wire, which is the yellow and black wire. Go in here and back probe it. And probably help if we had the key on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the key on. And if you see here, we do have 12 volts on the power wire of that solenoid, so it is getting power. And we have checked the other solenoids that are triggering the trouble code beforehand, and same thing as this, we are getting 12 volts on all those other solenoids. So we are at least getting power on them, and we aren't having a problem with the power control relay. So the next step we're going to do is get access to the computer and look at that, because that seems where we're headed next. So we're going to pull the wipers and the wiper cowl and take a look at the computer.
Fried chicken.
Alright, since we went ahead and checked power on all these devices with the meter and they all showed voltage on them, we're going to check the control side of the devices. And we got one here, it goes to computer, another one here, and same with these ones, they all go to computer. But Richard says, since it seems very unlikely that all the control wires on these devices are broken, that we should go ahead and swap in this computer that the customer had in the car, and once we plug that in, see what happens and see if anything changes. Alright, so we're going to unplug this computer. Out, and we're just gonna leave this here and plug in this spare computer the customer left. Plug it in. and got this computer plugged in, which this computer has had the immobilizer deleted, so it should start the car and see what happens. All right, we're gonna go in the engine computer here with this spare computer plugged in. Go ahead and see what fault codes it has. And that's interesting. So we've got the boost pressure regulation valve, or the N75, triggering that same code that it had, but the other 4 devices are not triggering. So we're going to go ahead and clear this and see what happens. And it immediately pops up. All right, so seeing this code reoccur immediately and the other one's not popping up leads us to believe that the other computer could be bad. And since we have just this one code popping up, we're going to go ahead and check the N75 boost control solenoid circuit and see if we can find a problem there. Alright, so since we're just checking the circuit on the N75 boost control solenoid, and we know the power side is getting power, so we're concerned about the ground side with the computer. So first check we're going to do is ohm check the ground side between the wire here on the solenoid and the wire here on the computer. We've already back probed it on the computer, and we just back probed on the N75. So we're going to take our meter and ohm check it. Plug this in here. Our ohm setting. Alright, we've got our meter back probed on the pin for the control side of the solenoid, and we've got our meter here, and we're going to touch control wire here on the connector for the N75. And this is the red and brown wire, and as you can see we do have continuity there, so these wires aren't broken. So next we are going to amp clamp this wire and see if it's capable of carrying current. Alright, so we've done the ohm check on the control wire between the N75 solenoid and the computer, and since that showed it was connected, we are going to do an amp check on the whole N75 circuit. We've got the yellow power wire which comes from the fuse here, and then we have the control wire here, it's the red and brown one, that goes to the computer. We've got that ground wire on the computer back probed here, and we've got it going through our meter, through here, which we're going to ground with this T-pin here, and we're going to check amperage, if it'll flow through the system, and what our reading is once we do that. So go ahead and do that here real quick, and as you can see, it's showing approximately 750 milliamps, which we are going to call 0.7 amps.
Hold it a little bit longer. Say, as you can see.
As you can see here, we're showing 760 milliamps. All right, since we've got 0.7 amps here, and we know our battery voltage, we're going to use Ohm's law and plug in these numbers to see if our amperage is actually correct. All right, we're testing a known good N75 solenoid that we have here. And we've got this on our resistance reading, and we're showing 16 ohms. Alright, so next we're going to check our battery voltage. And we've got 12.18 volts. Well, we got 12.18 volts, so we're going to round that to 12.2 volts. Alright, so we got Ohm's law here, which we've defined as voltage divided by resistance equals amperage. And for our voltage we've got 12.2, and our resistance is 16 ohms. So I'm going to go ahead and do some math. 12.2 divided by 16. We've got 0.76 amps, or as we rounded 0.7 amps, which is what we got on our meter when we amp amp check the system. So in conclusion, our circuit is flowing the correct amount of amperage and is working. So the logical conclusion is that the computer is bad. So the best thing to do would be check power and grounds on the computer next. Alright, we're going to check power and grounds on the computer, but Richard, with all his Volkswagen supplies and spare parts, has a spare computer here. And looking at the part number, they are the same. And I do want to point out we do have two computers here. The original one that was in the car when we got it, and the one that was in the passenger seat that the customer left. We're going to take this computer that Richard has and do an immobilizer delete on it, which we do here at the shop. If you're interested in that, be sure to check the link in the description. And we're going to plug this computer in, do an immobilizer delete, and see if that fixes the problem. Alright, we just finished the immobilizer delete on that spare computer Richard had. I'm going to go here on the engine computer and check, make sure those codes went away, they don't reoccur. Go in fault codes, and no codes. Our N75 circuit code went away. So seems like I needed a new computer. Go ahead and give the customer a call and let them know. So the customer's probably right that the computer was bad and the customer got a second computer, but unfortunately it seems that second computer was also bad. But we do have another computer in and it seemed to fix it. So we're going to go ahead and drive it and graph boost and see if our boost problem is fixed.
Did it fix it?
Yep.
Did you get a graph?
I did. Right here. As you can see, we got green desired and yellow actual, and boost comes up, and it comes under control, and it stays there, and it comes off when we let go. Did this every time.
Code didn't reoccur?
Nope, no codes. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And if you want to donate to the continued production of these videos, hit the donate icon at www.kansascitytdi.com.